That's a huge deal.
That's breaking news.
That should have been, that should have been in the notes rundown. I did not know that. You are watching the best Mets podcast on the planet Earth, featuring the best Mets personalities, the best producers, the best outings and events in the game right now, all talking about one of the most interesting, infuriating, and hopefully fucking great teams in all of professional sports. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like and leave comments. Make sure you click that little bell icon so you get a notification every time we put out a new episode, and ride with We Gotta Believe and Stevie Cohen to the promised land.
Gotta believe. We Gotta Believe, Season 4, Episode 2, what was going to be known as Welcome to New York, Seabass. Chris Bassitt, the big news on Saturday night, first trade of the new offseason. And then casual Monday morning news, Pete Alonso got into a massive car crash the day before.
But he's okay.
If
you just in case you're catching your news from this, he's okay. Can't start off with that, Clem, and not say that he's okay. Yeah, this is quickly turned into the holy fucking shit. Thank God that we have changed the juju. And I tweeted this out, and there's a bunch of little bitches on Twitter crying to me that I wasn't sensitive enough in my tweet for a guy that was okay in a car accident and walked away from it.
Okay, he fucking knocked the windshield out. He's Superman.
I know. I mean, like, listen, it's some Thanos shit. You should have gone for the head. Like, he could eat car accidents. He is like a man. He is the man of all men. He truly is like a Paul Bunyan figure in my head at this point. The way he mashes home runs and just walks away from car accidents. Duaner Sanchez gets in a fucking fender bender, ruins our whole franchise's trajectory, and Pete Alonso can flip a car 4 times like Fast and the Furious and walk away no problem. He's a freak. But I said, if this was the Wilpons, this is still the Wilpon Mets. This is the rest in peace Pete Alonso episode. I swear to God. If the Wilpons still own this team, Pete Alonso is dead. Steve Cohen has saved lives at this point. Because you know what? The sports gods, they reward teams who are doing it right. They reward men who want to win and will spend to win and put the team first and are aggressive. And that's how you protect your players. It's not even just about winning, it's about protecting.
Karmic shift. That's simple. Simple.
The shift.
The shift.
The shift is happening. You're right. I'm all for the shift. Swear to God, man. I mean, when we've talked about it for years on Gotta Believe now, whenever something can go wrong, it does. What's that called? Murphy's Law? I mean, it's always the worst case scenario with the Mets. So to find out casually, like he just shows up and is like, oh yeah, by the way. Like it wasn't like huge news until he just like mentioned it, you know? It wasn't like we heard on the news from the police or from, on the scene. It was just like, oh, hey, guys, I'm here today. Also, my car flipped over like 3 times. That's fucking crazy, man.
I saw the video of him early this morning where he's like loading his bats up and he's just shooting the shit. And then I see the Degrom tweet, and that's like the Degrom tweet is how I read it. Yeah. Is how I basically announced the podcast. It's like Pete Alonso flipped in his car 3 times yesterday. And I'm like, ugh. And then it's like, and he walked around. He's gonna be back in the baseball field tomorrow. Just like, ah.
Not even a fucking scratch on him. It's
and then
unreal.
Like a minute later, the Tatis news comes out. Fernando Tatis shattered his wrist or something, and they don't know how it happened.
Mysterious injury. We got Meek, Phil, and Kyle on the mic as well. Meek's our new addition to the squad. Mysterious injury. That's some Met shit. Yeah. That's usually what we get.
Yes.
We usually get some we don't know how this happened. I mean, read Jacob Degrom. But when you just pay this dude a boatload and he's now injured a couple times in a major way.
Yeah, with Tatis, some are speculating it might have been a motorcycle accident he got into in December. So might have been that, might not have been. There's no way to really know.
Motorcycles are the downfall of sports teams.
Yeah. They couldn't talk about it during the lockout either, so that's also why the team couldn't. Well, they weren't supposed to talk about it in quotes.
Right,
we don't know.
That's Met shit too. It's like the timing of it all, a fucking death trap your $300 million man is riding, right?
There's 2 things that should be in a contract for every player once they sign. They can't do that shit, and they should not go to the Dominican Republic during the offseason and get mugged. Because it could have been much worse.
I've always said my 2 things were no motorcycles. And I would love to, this was earlier, it was probably 10 years ago, I used to say this, no social media. I would love to have a social media-less team. I know that's just impossible to not allow these guys to build their brand and build their career anymore because it's just too valuable. But if I could impose some sort of limits or you can only use it to talk about your charities, your team, and your family, no media talking, no bullshit, no, you have any scrap with a fan, you're done. You talk, you use any profanity, you talk any shit, like you're done. Just because, and it's not that I don't like that. I love that shit. I fucking make a career off that shit. But it's the same reason I don't want Steve Cohen on there. It's like it never leads to anything good. But the motorcycles would be like 100%. Like you want to put ink on this paper, you can't ride your motorcycle. And if you get caught, it's like a $10 million fine because it's just nothing but a death trap.
$100 million.
Yeah. Like I would say the whole thing's void. If I just see you on a fucking motorcycle, if I see you on a roller coaster, if I see you doing anything at all, if your feet like leave the ground, if you're zip lining, if you're parachute, all that shit, fucking void.
What was Jose Fernandez was the boat, right? He got into a boat accident.
And you certainly can't drive a boat drunk.
Oh, and drunk and whatever.
But man, I mean, for real, to think of like a Mets accident that's like a true. You ever been in a car accident?
Minor.
You guys?
No.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've been like bumped from behind, and like, that even that gets you like, holy shit.
We're talking jostling.
Flipping? Yeah, we're getting jostled.
That's the word of the day,
If you're flipping, like, that is
flips.
scary. Yeah, and we're talking this way, or he rolls, right?
I'm rolling.
Yeah, me too. Because even I know people who have spun, and that's crazy because you're just so disoriented. You're trying to like, you don't even know what to do. But if you flip. Jesus Christ! Happy that Pete's still just unfazed. He might be Mr. Unbreakable. He might be unbreakable.
Unbreakable. Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, we've had nothing but what's the Samuel Jackson?
Mr. Glass.
Mr. Glass. That's
so
basically.
We had
Jed Lowry.
We had Jed Lowry, and to every yin there's a yang. We have Pete Alonso, who's just gonna step up and hit over 50 bombs. That we'll do the 96er club, and I will also put Pete Alonso home run total at 50 and a half for. The Polar Bear Gang. We'll make that as well.
Yeah, like now that you're looking to dip the toe in the water with the Barstool Sportsbook, maybe we'll just throw some, Scherzer, Degrom, K's, but then the PD bomb and the Mets win.
Meek, why don't you come up with what do you think your best like over unders for season totals are, and we'll put out a slew of them for people on the Barstool Sportsbook.
Is it a bad idea if we have a Edwin Diaz blown safe?
God damn it, Meek.
You've been on the show for one episode.
And you fit right in.
Joe DeMayo's kicking his.
I mean, here's the thing. That I was thinking that myself. Like,
you sick bastard.
That is.
Did you forget about the song? Has the song already been forgotten about?
Dude, I know, but it's just like, I said it the first episode. I think like, in order to make it to the promised land, you need like every single thing to click, and that usually means like you can't even have regression either, And it's like, so we need Edwin Diaz like take another step forward. And what if he's a yo-yo guy? What if it's just like on off? If there's just like blown saves in April, I'm gonna spiral real quick.
Like, I don't know what the odds would be. We could set it like 6.5 or something. You'll be sitting there, it's like, oh, well, he has like 6 blown saves in June. It's like, it's already dead.
Yeah, it's like, how bad do you guys want this bet to cash? Shit. But anyway, the other big news would be the Seabass. I was gonna go with Bassitt Hound. If he are we doing Seabass, or that's what people call him?
Apparently that's his nickname. Someone tweeted at me.
I might just be over here calling him Bassitt Hound. But Seabass, kick his ass. Seabass is I think you can't, in my opinion, you can't get enough Chris Bassitts. Like of course you want the DeGroms and Scherzers, and I would even prefer.
We both have.
They're both on our team. I said the top 2 guys, and they both happen to be on our team. I would prefer like a third starter that's, well, of course, obviously. I would love a 3 who's a 2. But then like just loading up the back half of the rotation with like as many guys as you can. And I don't even want to say, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I watch the A's and I've seen him pitch a lot. Yeah. But when I see that he's top 10 in ERA and has been so for the last 3 years, they're maybe it's not the sexiest, but I'll take as many guys as you can. Because I think back to the days when we had the 5 aces, and even before that when we had, who else did we have? There was Montero and somebody else that was like waiting in the wings, and it was like we could have 7 starters, and then 2 of them suck, 3 of them are injured, and we're like, we need to make a move at the deadline. So there's just never enough starters and never enough pitching. So I'll take it, as many as we can get, man.
We're still probably gonna need to trade for a starter to deadline if you know how baseball works.
Right. I mean, you just cannot have enough, and if Ty Walker, who I understand is looking well fed these days. Was that the case?
He was looking real thick. It was like giving Bartolo vibes. He has like the little fro going, and I was like, I like it. Like, put as much weight on you as you can, as long as you don't get hurt.
I was gonna say, as long as it's that good weight that makes you durable, and not that bad weight that makes you run out of gas. If there's one sport you could be fat in, it's baseball. Yeah. But if he has a second half meltdown type thing, and God forbid anybody gets injured, and you just look at some of the question marks, and it's like just load up with as many fucking guys as you can.
Well, that's the thing with Bassitt too. 6'5". I always like tall guys.
Big boy.
Yeah, like Chris Young was like the tall guy, but he had like a 6 K/9. And you're like, that's not the guy.
Big Bird was not the move.
Yeah. But yeah, just having a big dude like that. I saw his K/9 went from 6.37 as a rookie to 9.1 last year, which I love. ERA was 3.23 over the last 4 seasons. Like you said, Oakland, like they just make fucking guys like this out there. And I will say, like, I'm 1,000% ready for JT Ginn to become a fucking like stud, making like the league minimum in the All-Star team. Like, that's just how it goes. You deal with the A's to Rays. You just say those guys are probably going to be good.
As much as you're, you're like, oh, the A's like churn these guys out. It's always like almost like doing a deal with Jerry West in the NBA or dealing with Belichick in the NFL. Sometimes where you're like, well, wait a minute. If you want these prospects and you're willing to part with that guy, are you pulling one over on us? But it's also they have to, because of their limitations, they have to part with certain guys. So you just hope that
we're loading up on a lot of A's too, right?
Yeah,
Marte and
dude, I'm all good. I mean, for what I once used to think about Sandy Alderson was take his Moneyball mentality and his smarts and his style, but also give him the wallet, and you get the best of both worlds. Yep. And when you got, when you get guys like Scherzer, and you're loading up on guys like from the A's, you're kind of doing that. And if it could be the best of both worlds, that's it's baseball's so stupid. I mean, it's so fucking hard to win a World Series. Like you can get as many fucking guys in the world, and it just like is still like. Maybe you have a decent shot at winning. Like
Braves are gonna win, and they lose like their best like 3 players. Like it's like no big deal. It doesn't make fucking sense. It's so stupid, and we live and die with every single minute of this game. That's 162 games long plus the playoffs.
And I can't even believe that I used to do life without Steve Cohen, because as short as it's been, I'm just so used to this new lifestyle of mine, and I just feel like perfectly balanced as all things should be, right, Clem? It's just like New York can only have one team that throws their dick on the table and spends money, and right now it's become Steve Cohen and the Mets, and the poor little Yankees are out here making Brody moves, making Mets moves, Wilpons moves. Oh no, we're not. Oh, there's like 4 generational shortstops available. No, we're gonna wait for our prospects. We're good. We're all set on that. The fact that one of those guys was not a Yankee, like immediately. I'm talking even before the fucking lockout. That's some shit where you can say, George is rolling over his grave, the Yankees are dead, because that's a spot they need to fill, and the best of a generation all are available, and they're not taking any of them. That's a bad sign.
I woke up in like the middle of the night and just checked my phone just to see, like, again, I'm on Uncle Stevie watch right now. I'm waiting to see who we're getting next. And I see Yankees and shortstop. And I go, wow, they did correct.
They finally did.
Tip of the cap. And then I read it all. And I was like, oh. And like you said, I go on Twitter, see what everyone's saying. Brody move, welcome to life as a Mets fan. Donaldson, who apparently hates Garrett Cole, which I just love.
$60 million, and he's gonna definitely cause a problem with your mental midget ace. Like Garrett Cole's not gonna be the guy to hand. Oh, come on, for Pete's sake, guys! I mean, that is a disaster of a move in my mind. And to say it's because you're waiting for prospects, and then of course, who's homeboy? What's his name? Not Donaldson, the other guy. I don't know his name.
Kiner Falefa?
Yeah. That's a name I'm gonna Francesca. Like I'm never gonna know that guy's name. The kid with the name. The kid with the long name. The 3 names. But him immediately shaving and tweeting like I want to be like number 2, so the Yankee fans all love it. I'm like that was us. Like the simplest thing. Somebody would just be like, let's go Mets. And I'd be like, oh, he likes us. He really likes us. Let's root for him. No, this is a shitty move.
He named his dog Orange and Blue.
Yeah.
For the next day. It's like, what the fuck?
I don't remember before the offseason started, it's like, oh, they're not going to pay any of these guys attached to the qualifying offer. It's like, how could it ever have a good offseason this way? And then you look at it, it's like, they've had a pretty good offseason and kept whatever pick they want.
I feel like
that's right.
As far as like, I was talking to Tommy Scabelli, and he's walking around. All he's saying is there's got to be more coming. There's got to be more coming. And I feel like I've just been hearing that for how long with the Yankees? Yeah. So condolences, because we're over here just blowing through taxes that are named after us.
Better than having a bridge named after you. Or Uncle Stevie, who basically said, "I don't give a fuck." And it's
no, you know what? You know what's even better? He didn't say that. He said something. What did he say? He was like, "I'm not bothered by it."
Yeah.
Like if he was like, "Fuck this. Fuck it. I don't give a fuck about this thing." It kind of implies that he's like, "Shit, but whatever. We're gonna I don't care what it takes." It's like he's truly unbothered. He was like, "Yeah, whatever. No big deal."
He's talked about spending $290 million the way we talk about spending like a $2.90.
I know.
Like, hey man, can I get a
$2.90
couple Coors Lights from you here?
$290 is a number that I mean, that's a number I would we would joke about as kids, being like, the Yankees have a $300 million payroll, and it's like teams now do have a $300 million payroll.
And like the problem I think with the owners is looking at this is like he has income coming in every year of his own money, and he's like, I'm just gonna make it back up next year. Like at $14 billion, it doesn't go away like overnight. I could just make it make some shady deals.
Sure.
Next thing you know, I won't buy a stick figurine for $100 million. Like that's it. That's one season.
Dude, contrary to popular belief, owning a baseball team is very profitable.
Yeah.
It's a $1 billion business. It's very profitable.
But what's funny is within that realm, guys still always are like responsible, and they to get to be a billionaire, you gotta be smart with money, and you don't get reckless with it. And Steve Cohen, he's just like, what if he truly, genuinely does not give a fuck, and he's like, I will have a $500 million team. I don't care. I mean, that's obviously silly, but like, what if it goes to 350? What if it goes what if, because what if if I would love to sit down with him. Oh my God, I would love to sit down with him. Could we do some sort of charity thing? We'll give all the money to charity or something. Or just sit down with me. Because what if you found out that Steve Cohen, it's kind of like Gary Vee and owning the Jets. Like he's doing all of this with the dream of one day owning the Jets. And I think if he gets there, he's going to be a madman about it. If Steve Cohen told you that, like, I have been doing all of this, I became Bobby Axelrod, all of the deals, all the SEC, the court cases, all the drama, all the bullshit he's gone through, all to get to own a baseball team and the Mets. And like, now that I'm here, I'm going to do whatever. Because if guys like me and you had money like that, I would truly be, it would be fantasy baseball. I would turn it into a joke. I'd be on Twitter being like, I'm going to get everybody. Like, fuck you guys. And I mean, it's
even when he tweeted with Bassitt, he's like, did anything happen? And like,
love it. I love it. That's me with Steve and Twitter, but when he does it right, he does it right. So
now the Degrom thing, that was the other side, right? Where he's there, Degrom's like, I'm going to opt out, which we all expected, and Steve was like, we're going to let him play throughout the season. And I think Degrom has to say that, and he has to do it if he stays healthy. But we also have to see if he stays healthy. Like, that is there's like a bunch of guillotines still hanging.
I know.
And somehow the Pete Alonso flipped his car 3 fucking times before the first day of spring training. Did not hit us.
That makes me feel like something bad's gotta again balance out. It better not come at the
cost
of Jake.
The Wilpons way of thinking.
But I know you're right. You're right. The sports gods are in favor now. I don't even know if the injuries matter, because everything I just said about the way Steve is going to spend and handle it, if I'm him, I think I sign Jacob Degrom no matter what, because there's just too much potential for disaster backlash. I don't care if he misses this whole season, because if he gets healthy with someone else and he puts it all together. He's obviously put it together, but if he puts if he puts it all together, like last year when he was on the mound, if you get 30, 35 of those starts, you're talking like, Bob Gibson type seasons, and it's somewhere else, it's just such a black mark and a stain and a LOL Mets thing. And as long as it's like somewhat within reasonable money, I feel like, if your thing's going to be spending, but the time you choose to let someone walk is Jacob Degrom, I just can't imagine that happening.
That's tough luck.
That's when you count your blessings that he's a fan first, because he's lived through Seaver. Yeah. He's seen like Nolan Ryan leave. He's all these years of like that should have been the face of the franchise.
Pitching is like
and
our
he's
thing.
Not. Yes.
Yeah. And also you at least hope that he's being serious, that like Degrom feels like a little bit of a Mets fan, and him as like being like, I would love to be a Met for life. I'm like, what? What? I mean, now I can understand if you wanted to say, like, I want to be with Steve Cohen, but to be like, it would be cool to be a Met for life. It's like, no, it's not. Nobody thinks that's cool, dude.
Yeah, and when we signed Scherzer to whatever money it was, I said, like, we got to give DeGrom, like, $50 million a year in like, next season. It's, like, not an issue. Steve has limited money.
I feel like 200 over 4 is, like, a pretty reasonable extension, right?
It's been such a discount for
extension,
so
but deal.
long that it's like almost built in. You've earned this, like, type of thing.
Sure, but and also not to say that these guys aren't, like, you know, about their money and pro athletes and shit, but, like, I just feel like Jake is gonna be like, okay, that's good enough, like he was with the first deal. I mean, the fact that was a Brody deal, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
we have some breaking news. Jacob Degrom is scheduled to be the Mets opening day starter.
All right.
Huge shock.
That scared me for a second.
Yeah.
Don't listen, new guy. Don't do that again. Do not ever say breaking news and start with Jacob Degrom. Like there's too much scary there.
Shout out to Scherzer too, because Scherzer said he's like, I'm here just to like help out Jake. I'm the two. You know what I mean?
If you're gonna let opening day starts and who's the 1 and the 2 and shit like bother you, then you're not even. Then forget about like a World Series. You know what I mean? Like, dude is there about his business, and I think that's gonna be no problem. It's almost like, in a way, if I was either one of those guys, I would defer to the other one, because I think it makes you look like the number 1. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, not even doing it out of the goodness of my heart. If Jake says, oh no, Scherzer's the king. He's been the king of this league for the last 12, 50, whatever years. He's the number 1. I think I walk around going, Jake's the real number 1, but he gave it to him, you know? And I feel like kind of people, you know, think the same thing about Scherzer.
Probably going to motivate that sick fuck, too. He's like, oh, yeah, he's the number 2. I'm the number 2.
Yeah, right.
It's going to drive.
Yeah, it's funny because they're both obviously wildly different ends of the spectrum, but I feel like it's almost like, no, you're better. No, you're better. No, you're better. Like, because they both want to just fucking play and win.
And, like, Scherzer was with Verlander, so he's already been, like, number 2 to, like, the alpha, it motivated him to turn into how he is now. So it's like, if you think he's coming out of a game in the 7th or 8th inning with Buck walking out there and he's like, fuck off, okay, let it ride then, whatever.
Yeah,
it's your team too.
Yep.
Buck versus Scherzer is going to be a very
there's going to be a couple there's going to be a couple moments where those guys butt heads for sure. I'm so happy that I get to, like, Scherzer's the fucking man and always has been, but I've just, for the majority of the time, have always had to hate him. Yeah. But even when he did, like, in his early days, I was like, this is so fucking, like, this guy is a badass. And now, even if it's just this one little contract, it's like, yeah, man, this dude's awesome, you know?
The name Max and Scherzer, like, those two are just badass names, and the fact he lives up to every fucking letter of it is actually
You're doing well with Scherzer.
Yeah, I before we went up, I caught myself. I was like,
sir. All right. Do we have anything else to? Oh, so what about I think there were Buster rumors that the Mets are, like, heavily trying to shop some of their veterans, which I know we kind of talked about JD and Dom.
The farm and on this one, Buster.
Yeah.
The farm on
yeah. But I still think that's. I know you were saying those guys don't fetch much, but I just feel like a deal's coming with.
I just think it's also kind of squashed because our rotation is basically already filled out to the point where you're not trading any of those guys for a starter or any package like that. Maybe you flip one for a left-hand reliever that I don't know about, but overall, I think those guys all stay. Maybe they add a bat that just falls in their lap on a short-term deal because I don't think they want to give, say, like a Bryant 6 years or whatever happens. Maybe Conforto falls in their lap. I don't know.
Imagine that. I've so moved on. You know,
from Mikey.
Yeah,
me too.
I feel like if it was me, I'd just get Bryant just because it's like just make the people happy and fucking and, like, you know, whatever. Again, it doesn't really fucking matter at this point. But so do you think? What do you think? You think we're like?
I think
set?
I think we're set. I think having again pitching depth you always need, and we have that. And again, like let's just list out the pitching. So it's Degrom, Scherzer, Bassitt. It's I guess Walker and Carrasco, depending how you want to order.
I am expecting Zippo from Carrasco. I have no faith.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't think it. I think he's going to be one of those deals that, like, it just. No reason. I'm not, like, speaking statistically here. I could just see, Like, I had such high hopes for him. The way that we were all like, oh, and you forget about Carrasco being a part of that deal. Like, he's coming and da-da-da. And I just could see it being like he never was cookie. Yep. He was never the guy. But whatever, yeah.
Then McGill, Peterson, who else is
KZ, Joey Fuego.
Cherv.
Fuego's probably not coming back for a while. Remember we got Tommy John in June.
Yeah.
So,
but whatever, that's still he's still there. He's still there in spirit.
With us, yeah.
We got you, Joey.
Joey
Fuego. Unreal.
And then the bullpen is the only other play. And again, like, God forbid your fucking, starting first baseman gets into a car accident and flips 3 times. Like, you have Dom still there, JD. So, like, depth is a thing other than pitching, right?
Yeah.
So that does
and
matter.
the DH just, it was a problem last year. Now it's not a problem, but it's like who do we put where and who's just wasting away on the bench and platoon this and sit
That's
that.
almost why you almost want them to move one guy just because it's such a logjam of
There's so much.
If you have 4 guys in and out, none of them are going to get like hot necessarily.
What they need. Yeah.
God damn it. Like, just give them consistent at bats. That's where you run into that trouble. Like JD, Cano, Dom, Alonso.
That's too many
options.
That's a lot. Yeah. How about our Wash King showing up with his little beaded fucking braids?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
The Wash King.
Just fucking Robbie Cano going Robbie Cano on our asses.
Is there any chance there's like any lingering effects from the steroids? Like, it's not in his system, but somehow he's still got a little bit of juice in him, God, just do the juice, man. Just do the steroids.
And then
do it, Robbie.
The other thing was they signed Ottavino to like the 1 year, $4 million
I forgot
deal.
about that. I've already kind of put that on my brain. I don't like that.
And I was just like whatever with it. Like, I think it's, again, he does go good,
How
bad, good, bad every other year. 1 year, 4
Oh,
million.
I thought you said 4 years. I was like, wait, what?
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
That would have been like a Brody deal. But again, he's one of those guys every other year. He was pretty much good then bad, good then bad. I didn't know what he did last year. I didn't really follow the Red Sox, and I was like, oh, the Yankees fans are coming over this guy in 2019.
They were loving
him. And I like a guy who has the 0 on the jersey, something silly like that, because he has the O. But I like that guy. I know I saw Phil. You said they say don't put him in high leverage situations. Pretty much.
That's like the worst thing you want to hear about a guy. It's like, oh, he's good if he's not in high leverage spots. Like, yeah, I just don't pitch him if you want to win games. It's perfect to hear.
Like, they went out there being like, let's go get ourselves a mop up, man.
Yeah.
Let's go get one of those. Okay.
Like, he pitched well with Colorado. Then he pitched well in the bandbox that is Yankee Stadium. So I'm like, now that he's at Citi Field, it can't be any worse. Like, that's one of the best places to pitch if you're a pitcher. And if
Famous
he's going to be...
last words from a Mets fan, though.
Maybe the positive
I know we're out of the
pointing to
Wilpon
sky.
era, but it can't get any worse.
We have some.
Okay, it's phrasing this time.
It's not that bad. It says no concern. Starling Marte underwent X-rays on a sore oblique. Test did not show damage. He's going to participate. He did not participate today out of caution. Showalter does not seem concerned. So
he looks wound tight.
I'm gonna have to trust. I'm trusting the Steve Cohen sports gods.
We hope this isn't Jed Lowry where he's not concerned.
Don't even.
I hate the that's almost the worst. Is like, I'd rather there be something, and it's like it's a grade 1 strain, but he'll be okay. 15-day DL, whatever. He misses like the early season. I don't know, whatever. The old because then it's like, well, then why are you hurting? You know what I mean? Then it leaves mystery comes into play. It's like when Beltran and Reyes were day to day for 100 days straight, that will haunt me for the rest of my life. That was like baseball gaslighting, I was like, you string along your significant other for you should have just broken up 6 months ago, but you just keep on dragging along. That was day to day until half the fucking season's over.
And when a guy like Marte looks so fucking good, and still gets hurt,
is fucking ripped in that undershirt. Oh my God, I was getting hard over here.
And I said it when. When Uncle Stevie came out, I go, just fucking get the season started. I don't want to worry about obliques.
Yeah.
And here I'm worrying about obliques.
Bro, obliques are the devil. The devil. All I ever fucking hear is about hurt obliques.
You forget about these things when it's no longer it's one of those things that just put out of your mind when the season's not going on, right? But then once, especially during spring training, that one strained oblique and ends up fucking. It's kind of like in football when the guy gets carted off. And it's like, no, we just carted him off because we don't want to have him walk 2 miles back. But when you see carted off, it just sends that chill down your spine. And obliques is the baseball version. I fucking despise it.
If I just handed you a bat right now and cold, you had to take your hardest swing. No warm up, no stretching, no nothing. Just one, your hardest swing possible. I think I would rip and tear all of the obliques.
My obliques would shatter.
Just whatever they are, wherever they are, can they rip? Can they tear? Can they explode? Yeah, I don't know what they are, but they would be gone, dude. I remember back. This is like 2000 and it was like my first year of Deloitte, so 2008, let's call it. That we did like a company softball outing, and I had not swung a bat at that point for 10 years after all my surgeries. The last thing I remember this on the Ask Me Anything that I did on YouTube a couple weeks ago. The last like truly athletic thing I did, not athletic, like I was a star. Just like the last time I engaged in a game of any sort was a intramural softball game at Fordham, and the last game I played, I hit a bomb. Hit a home run at like the way we played intramurals. There was a short porch, so I hit this home run that was probably like 260 feet. But anyway, back to the Deloitte thing. It was like I hadn't played in a long time, so I was like, let me go to the batting cages before to just like make sure I could go through the motions again, you know. Like first fucking, I mean, we're talking slow pitch softball. So I put the fucking machine on. It's not even like I was hitting gas. First swing, I was like, yoink. And I was like, argh. So I like, of course, with my back and everything, fucked it up at the batting cages, just trying to be like, you know, serviceable for the softball game. So then I pitched because I was like, I can't do anything else. And I remember I had never pitched this in slow pitch softball because, you know, there's a little bit of science with the arc and everything. And I just, found my groove somehow, right? And but there was this one dude on the opposing, it was probably like KPMG or some shit, and every time he would hit these like monsters, but they were always flyouts. And then it was honestly like baseball is just a stupid sport where it, you know, like where the ball always finds the guy or, you know, whatever. So it was like the final inning or whatever, and this guy was like due up, comes up with like either the bases loaded or 2 men on. And I was like, it was like rookie of the year type shit, like one more, just give me one more batter. And I'm trying to float him and do all these things. And he was like that guy, you know what I mean?
Big Met guy.
Bro, this guy hit this ball out of Central Park, like gone, dude. It was like, okay, all right, that's enough. That was probably truly the last time I ever did anything organized. But
like, I'm gonna criticize other people who do this professionally, other superstar athletes for the rest of my life.
I walked off the mound being like, my obliques, man, I just couldn't. Sorry, team. All right, should we get to the calls, or do we have anything else to really tackle?
No, the only other thing on the rundown was that Apple TV, they got the Friday night games, and then Peacock's going to have 11:30 a.m. baseball.
Love 11:30 a.m. What do you think?
Get the games out the way early.
Yeah,
those are Sunday mornings. Yep, get them out the way early.
So
like footy.
Day games, to me, let me like list them. The best thing in the world is a day game W.
Yes.
Because your day is open now. And you're happy. Mm-hmm. Now, would you prefer a night game? Like, what comes after that? I feel like a day game loss can ruin your whole day. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's like a day game loss or a night game loss? Because like at least with a night game loss, you're hopefully theoretically going to bed.
Yep.
Yeah. But you know, a day game loss is like for hours and hours. You're just sitting there fucking like stewing on it, you know?
Hangs in your body.
But I don't know what's worse because it's like especially if there's extra innings or it's a long game, when you blow a save and it's like 11:30 or some shit and you're like, now you're just like gassed up. You can't go to sleep. Or that day game where it just lingers in your head for the rest of the afternoon and like through dinner time and shit. I don't know what's worse.
I just like having something on though. You know, that's gonna be the thing that'll like.
Yeah.
And then once the 8th inning comes and the fucking bullpen's doing bullpen things.
It's also like the NFL added those morning games when they go play in Europe. So it's like we get brunch and baseball on those days. It's just something new. Something new to be excited about. And then
I think like
you're ready to go right into dinner coma and it's your Sunday's done. That's it.
Yeah, that feeling of like nice weather, get up early, do some brunch drinks or brunch food with your baseball is like,
you just hope these teams are smart about it. They schedule like a 4:30 game before the 11:30 game. Like that way, it's not like you're like, an 8 o'clock night game.
You
and
know,
the
Mets are gonna get fucked by something like this, where they have a late game, extra innings, whatever, right before it, or they have to go cross country. You know that's fucking happening.
But the downside is we're getting less Gary, Keith, and Ron in like the whole grand scheme of all this. They're fucking putting everything out to national broadcast at this point, and it's like, what are you doing?
You know, baseball is part of the problem with baseball is it's such a regional sport.
Right.
But that's also the charm is that, you know, regional fans know and love their team like it's their everything. And like to try to make money and make it into like a global sport, you know, it's like they can't worry about guys like Gary, Keith, and Ron. But it's also, you know, baseball does a great job of like kicking their own real fans in the face while trying to gain new fans that they can't really gain, So, that is the shame of it. But I do believe we're going to try to do some simulcasts. We'll do some for the national broadcast games, the ESPN games. And
Nick just looked up like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Nick, we'll be doing some simulcasts. We've talked about it every year, but we always bring it up like 2 days before we realize there's an ESPN game. But no Mets fan.
I just need one day.
Yes, well, that's pretty much all we'll give you. No, but every time there's an ESPN game, Sunday Night Baseball, whatever, we're always like, man, fuck this broadcast. And so we'll hop on. And, you're not going to get like play-by-play and like your technical broadcast. Maybe we'll bring on Jake Marsh, who knows. But we will, you'll get, some Mets fans chopping it up for those games so you don't have to sit through that boring bullshit where they try to, fake their way through it. All right, calls, shall we?
Yep, let's attempt it.
In the meantime, subscribe to the YouTube. Go to our link tree, Barstool at the Ballpark.
Yep.
As I've said it a couple times, but we really do have a chance, especially with the addition of Meek, one of the best Mets fans and best Twitter social media account guys in Mets Twitter. We really have a chance to have, or I think we already do, have the best team of Mets fans out there right now. Between Kyle and Meek knowing all their shit, between the big man over here, probably being the most level-headed, likable Mets fan in the world, and then just me screaming and yelling. I think we got the best squad out there. I think we're like the Gary, Keith, and Ron of the podcast world. Like we're like the street version of those guys. They're the polished professionals. We're just the rowdy assholes. But we got a chance to really do something special with the podcast here. So we've got the YouTube. We're up already monetizing our YouTube channel because we got enough subscribers for that. So please make sure you follow all the social media accounts. Most importantly, subscribe to the YouTube. Rate and review the podcast. I think we already have it, but I want it to be, specifically known the #1 Mets podcast in the world. Let's get to the calls.
The listeners are a part of that too, for sure.
Let's get to Anthony at the stream. What up, Tony?
Yo,
how you doing?
What's up, guys? Can you hear me okay?
How about now? Try now.
You guys there? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. First call of the year. What's up?
Really? Wow, that's big. Yeah, I've been waiting for a few minutes here. I just wanted to come in and just get my thoughts off my chest about this Alonso disaster.
Wait, pause real quick before you say anything. I'm looking at the background if you're just listening. I mean, we've got a whole Mets shrine here. We got jerseys framed. We've got logos everywhere.
Oh yeah.
This Tony's about as hardcore as it gets. Yeah, go ahead with Pete.
Yeah, I saw it come up on my timeline and just like it was nothing. I think he kind of just mentioned it like in an interview, like, oh yeah, I was in a little bit of a fender bender last night. My car flipped 3 freaking times.
Crazy.
And, the whole thing's totaled. I was T-boned, and I almost died. But
yeah,
let's go Mets. I'm here.
Yeah, I mean,
what the fuck?
That I don't know if that was intentional. Or, if Pete was like, all right, I'm going to try to sound like a badass or whatever. Yeah. Or if he just is.
Oh, yeah.
But it was so casually. It's like fucking Meek trying to drop that breaking news on us. It was just nothing. That is insane. I'm surprised the real news hasn't picked that up. I want to see pictures of the car. I want to see all that shit because it sounds like some, what was his name? Donnie Stevenson?
Oh, God.
I feel like it was Donnie Stevenson in the
that
car.
That name needs to be censored.
Yeah.
Take the hammer out.
Yeah.
The Thor thing.
But listen, I mean, any other time in history, someone on the Mets flipped their car 3 times. I swear to God, I'm not even joking. We're talking about funerals and shit. So,
they would die.
Yeah.
The first thing I said, I was like, this season was about to be dedicated to him.
Yeah.
Which
honestly,
Cohen.
that can inspire the boys. I don't know.
We don't need you to. We have Steve.
And then we sign Freeman tomorrow, and
yeah, let's go. I would.
Jesus Christ.
No, obviously kidding.
No, we love
obviously kidding because I'm going to need Pete Alonso to hit 50 bombs. Wouldn't that be something if I made a over bet for Pete on the home run season total and then he dies? That would be the biggest mush of all time. Like, this guy's going to hit over
LOL
50
Mets
home runs
thing.
and he's dead.
It's the got into a car accident, broke both his legs or whatever, right? Wasn't
Yes,
that the Tiger
that was the Tiger. That was always the hoax, and then it turned out to be real for Tiger.
Real. Oh my God.
All right, Tony. Thanks a lot, brother.
Take it easy, guys.
Have a good one. We go to Mikey. What's up, Mike?
Yo, what's going on, guys?
How you doing?
Two things. One, I'm calling a career year for Edwin Diaz because he's a free agent next year.
People like to play for their pay. They like to play for the money.
So I'm just saying it would be the most classic Mets thing ever for him to absolutely light it up this year. So I'm taking the over on that Edwin Diaz prop if it goes up on the Barstool Sportsbook.
Under on the blown
under on the blown saves, just over on everything else for him. I feel like that contract years do always make a difference. He does seem like the kind of guy who would like ratchet it up and really go nuts. Yeah. Let's just hope it's the right time of it all.
Yeah, and definitely. And the other thing, we need to definitely deal one of those three of the McNeil, Davis, Dom Smith. But
I think
we definitely
I know why people are kind of lumping those all together. I think there's a big difference between McNeil.
We can't deal Jeff.
Yeah, like that.
We can't deal Jeff.
The thank you for the call, bro. Appreciate it. I feel like McNeil has a if he bounces back, we're talking about like one of the more valuable guys in the league compared to JD and Dom, who they've shown flashes, but very quick flashes. I get why those three get lumped together, but they're really not the same.
It's like the eyeball test too. Just old school baseball. You're like, he can hit to all fields. He's a line drive guy when he's right. It's just like, hopefully last year's just like an aberration. And
has
he gets
he
it all
spoken
together.
at all? Has he been said anything to kind of give us hope? Last year I was going through this or that or the other thing, injury, any of that shit, nothing?
No, but he has changed his jersey number to number 1, so that could be a change.
That's a huge deal.
That's breaking news.
That should have been that should have been in the notes rundown. I did not know that. He's the one. He's the one like the Jet Li flick. That means everything, dude.
And the hits god still works, so we can just put the one where the eye was.
Yeah, we can still have our stupid little name. Dude, that is a huge deal. That's like, you just gonna shake it off. He's the one. What? You getting skeptical over there?
If you're a second baseman that's number 1, you got to be a little more slicker than Jeff McNeil. That's just like as a jersey number guy. That's
maybe
6. He was a 6. He was a 6.
Maybe
he's not a 1.
Maybe when he's like just got that silky smooth swing, knocking the ball around the field.
At second base. That motherfucker was a 1 at second base.
Did we decide what we're doing?
Luis Castillo.
Did we decide? We still got him.
I don't like that
he's nearby.
I feel like this is a hostage video that we have.
Let's go to Bobby Chiviana. I can't read it.
Bobby.
How you doing, Bobo?
That's all right, guys. Everyone butchers the last name. All good. So I want to add on to that McNeil, Dom, JD thing we got going.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think that they're going to deal McNeil just because I don't think him and Lindor are going to be able to coexist together. I think the bad rap between the two, between keeping the $300 million shortstop on a 12-year deal and then Jeff, I feel like he gets the shaft. I just don't think they can coexist together, especially with them bringing on Escobar. Mm-hmm. I think he can slide in pretty good at second. It'll be interesting. I'd hate to get rid of Jeff, but
no, I am with you on that, Bobby. Thanks for the call. I feel like I always say this on any podcast I do when we're talking about entertainers or sports or anything famous and removed from us. When you break it down to a everyday normal life level, like if you're at work with someone and you have are Big T and Rico ever going to coexist? No. And they might exchange some words and have an apology, but when it comes down to it, they don't do content together. They're going to work together. When you have your feuds, you have your feuds. And especially when one is so lopsided, being a superstar who's paid, like they have to make amends. And I would hope and bet that Lindor has maybe apologized in his own right. Like they, both say they're sorry and move on. But it's almost like Lindor can do that, being like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, dude," because I know I'm the fucking goods. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like nothing's really gonna be that sincere. Now you could be professional about it. There are plenty of guys who don't like each other who play on the same team, but if they are both emotional, then it's like I don't care what they say or what act they put on. Do they actually like each other? And what the shame of it all is, it's the only positions where you do need to work. You know what I mean? You could be a fucking right fielder and a first baseman or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's the one place where you would like some chemistry and and things to work and be able to read each other and all that shit.
Rick Vaughn fucked Roger Dorn's wife.
Yeah.
And they got along. They fucking won the pennant.
Because baseball, like new age baseball, it's all about egos and followers and
it's
brands.
Like, and you got them to trade for your best friend. It's kind of a little bit of a weird thing.
Yeah.
Which Javi not being here.
Let's quickly talk about Lindor. Where for sure you need the play on the field to bump up. The amount of things I just heard over the course of last year, from the clubhouse to the media to the announcers, it's like Lindor and the fans. Lindor likes things to be his way, and I'm hoping maybe Scherzer comes in and is like, shut the fuck up. Maybe
Buck.
Put some people in. Yeah, Buck. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I hope it's more like, whoa, let me act like these guys because they're like the consummate professionals. I don't want there to be more beef, but.
You have Lindor fighting the second baseman or number 2 pitcher.
I do not want to fight Max Scherzer, bro. That's one guy I'm not trying to fight. But I think there needs to be some changes made on his end. But yeah, do you buy into the idea that McNeil needs to be moved for multiple reasons, not just on the field stuff?
It's a fair point. And then but the thing is, who's your second? Like, do you want Cano to be your everyday second? No, I do not want Robinson Cano to be my second.
I don't want Robinson Cano. I don't want to see him ever again. I feel like Kevin McAllister. I don't care if I see you ever again.
We have Escobar, right? But then it's like third base, which that's the thing about the bats. Like it does feel like we do have room for one more bat. The old Mets would always just go into the season as is.
That's also why I separate McNeil from those two guys, because he has his position.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The other guys are kind of floating around positionless.
It's also, you don't want to be like the clubhouse leader and be like a click guy. You don't want to.
Yeah.
Because
no.
There's people on the team that obviously are backing McNeil too. So then you just got a separation for no reason. It's like bury the hatchet. It was the first year. You got to get it figured out. But at the same time, it's like you can't be the face of the franchise and then have your favorites in the clubhouse known to everybody. If it is, it's fine. But not if it's known.
If Clem's the face of the team and and we're beefing, and we're friends, but you're like, but I'm gonna take Clem's side for my own business and my own career, and then I'm like, well, fuck you. It can cause, you have your beef, but it can cause rifts amongst everybody because who takes what side based on clout and status and all that shit.
The other thing, McNeil probably, like you said, he has the most trade value of all those other guys too. It's like you don't want to if you're trading him, you don't want to undersell him for a bag of balls.
Is there? Of course, there's a package. There's a price for everybody. But within reason, what type of deal would you say yes to for McNeil?
At this point, maybe a reliever for Hader. I don't know. Maybe he's
Hader.
A piece going that way, and then he ends up killing us. Listen,
Hader is
that's just me brainstorming off the top of my head.
Right. But I if you get Hader when he's all world, maybe fine, we'll do that. Trading Jeff McNeil for any sort of just here's a reliever is such a bad idea because we know how crapshoot bullpens can be, and we know how.
I completely agree. I'm done trading for relievers after Diaz. I'm just saying that's a thought that comes to my mind.
But you're right. That's kind of what those trades do end up looking like that, and it's just too dangerous for a guy to go somewhere. It's like, oh, I'm back to batting 335, and you have a reliever, even if he's good. It's he
pitches
whatever.
60 innings. It's
exactly.
How much value is that?
The fact we almost had Jeff McNeil in the Diaz trade is a miracle.
Right? Oh my God. Let's go to. Is this a different Anthony? No, it's the same Anthony. Let's go to Kevin. What's up, Kevin?
Kevin.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How you doing, Kevin?
I guess two-parted question for you guys. Wanted to get your thoughts on if at all you're concerned with the age of the team. Obviously, it's great that they signed a bunch of bats and Scherzer this offseason, but a lot of the guys are on the quote unquote bad side of 30. So, how do you guys think about that long term? And
first of all,
are you concerned with that? And
let's not quote unquote that. It's bad. It's post 30. I don't care if you're a professional athlete or not. It sucks. Continue though.
Yeah. And then also just want to get your thoughts. I'm sure you guys saw Degrom said he was opting out after the season, which I don't think is a big surprise. But, assuming he has a Degrom-like year and, maybe there's a few injuries mixed in there, how do you guys feel about a long-term deal for him?
The team is old as fuck, specifically the pitching staff. I saw your tweet. Don't we have no pitchers after next year? Everybody's expired.
Scherzer's the only one signed through next year. Everyone else got
out. And they're old, right? I mean, for the most part, it's
33, 31.
Yeah, 30 something. Low 30s.
I would certainly prefer one of those guys in the staff. If we had a young like fiery dude that has some passion, maybe can stay the fuck off of Twitter.
We did trade most of our guys in the Brody era that you could be possibly
be those
thinking
guys.
of. So yeah.
Yeah.
Kumar Rocker.
And
who never even signed.
Yeah. Oh
yes.
fuck.
I saw Wheeler. Didn't Wheeler have something with the shoulder too, right? So he has a little shoulder issue.
Because Wheeler got used
Yeah,
for like
but
200 innings last year. It's like that was bound to happen.
Yeah, but man, dude, Wheeler just shit down our throats, right down Brody's throat. Yeah, I just feel like I would like some youth for, again, my just stay up at night thinking about like what do World Series teams look like, and there's always like the wily veterans and the superstars, but then there's like, that kid who got called up, or the dude who is having the fairy tale Cinderella type thing, or the guy who is finally coming into his his first, making free agency, so he's playing for his money or whatever it is. There's those guys that I think do matter, but also at the same time, it's like, I don't know.
Well, we also could just have everybody on a TB12 diet and just have avocado and just be healthy forever.
Scherzer's a guy who he's starting to show like signs of his age, but not like too bad. It's like
him showing signs of his age is falling to third in the Cy Young voting.
Right, and like we might really be at a little bit of a tipping point of like what does age mean? What does the wrong side of 30 mean? How long can you play, especially baseball, which is relatively not a grind? It's I of course would just like to have a better balance, but I don't think that's a big like reason for concern.
Yeah, I mean,
if they're all injury prone and like bag of bones, it's a different story. But I feel like this is, there's an older team.
When we got Bassitt, you're like, I wish we didn't have just like ancient guys coming in left and right, and that's a fair point. I will say, I think this year, next year is going to be just Stevie throwing money at the problems, and then what I think they want to have is to then be like the Dodgers, where you just get these guys out of the minors, but we have to build the system as we do all that. So it's going to be like a little bit of a process. So this year, next year, maybe the year after, and then hopefully, knock on wood, that's when all the guys are coming up. The Alvarezes, the Baddies, all these guys start.
And you also just need like the role players, like the Ilars. We need who are those guys going to be for this season that just like step up for a month or two, get us over the hump, whatever it is. But to his point about Degrom, like all the phantom injuries, that's what kind of like throws me off. Is that it's his side, it's his shoulder, it's his elbow, it's his hand, it's his forearm. It's like if that piles up this season,
then we're in trouble.
Doomed.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if you're just back to normal,
those little injuries when you're, 20-something, right, kind of can deal with that. 30-something is a
if
whole
you sneeze
different
wrong after 30, you throwing your back out.
Bro, I've gone to the hospital on a sneeze. Not even fucking kidding.
Especially baseball players, they're known for that kind of shit.
Yep. Let's go to who's that? A1515. Who are you?
You got a droid.
Nope, that's it. Okay. The other guy said, Dylan, your device is not connected, so if you want to call it. But yeah, man. I mean, I feel like, you can kind of hear it in the callers' voices. Like, other than declaring Edwin Diaz having a career year, I think there's a lot of like, I think we're all battered. I think we're all a little, fucked up from the past, but like a lot of like quiet optimism. Where it's like, are we allowed to be cocky? Can we? Is now the time? Like sometimes I try to think if this was, if the Yankees, if this was the Astros put together this team, the Dodgers, people who have been there, who have won, who have a cocky fan base, like would those fans be like, if we were Red Sox fans right now, would they be like, oh yeah, like we're gonna fucking win this shit, Is this team, good enough constructed that the only thing holding us back is really like our own fears and our own like battered syndrome? Because I don't know. I can't tell. I'm not sure where we stand.
Yeah, we woke up and we had our first baseman get into a car accident, but he's all right. So I do feel like everything should. I think Degrom throwing that first start, coming out of it, then making a second start without any kind of setbacks, all that kind of stuff will do a good amount of good for the fan base. Same with Scherzer because he's older. Everything that gives us confidence with this team, I feel like are like the biggest problem areas with the team, right? And if Pete gets slow at the gate, it's like, does he have something wrong from that car accident? Did he not get anything loose?
If Degrom pitches poorly, what would you rather? Degrom gets like shelled on opening day, or Pete Alonso like on his first swing, like is like wincing, and it's kind of like, oh, that's something from the car accident. Would you rather have a question mark with Pete Alonso or Jacob Degrom?
Degrom.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Dom too, so it's like that
is
one of those things that kind of gives you a little wiggle room. And again, Dom did that in 2020.
Pete Alonso's going to hit 50 home runs.
That's
so
the thing. Bet the
go
over.
fuck yourself. In general, would you rather have the question mark with the offense or the pitching?
I'd rather it be with the offense again, just because I can't. I'm out of words. I can't even explain it.
Yeah,
I'm just so battered down from last year's offense. Now I want to second guess myself.
I just need to see offensive production. But it's like we've just seen over the years, even dating back to like that World Series team. I used to pulverize that one stat when we score 4 runs or more. We're like 1,001. We win every game that we score 4 runs. It's been that way for like almost 10 years now, and we just can't score 4 runs consistently. I mean, last year was even crazier. Like the numbers, if we had just put up some runs at times with that pitching, was fucking stellar. So I just want like even if the pitching ended up sucking, just something different. Let's say the season's gonna be bad, but it was like 10-9 losses. I'd be like, at least I'm watching something.
I just want to think back at seasons like, we had Degrom and Scherzer like having their best years of maybe some of the best years of their career. Like how sick that would be.
But also, I mean, would it be worse if it was like, you guys thought you had like the best 1-2 since Schilling and Johnson, and they both just for whatever reason shit the bed?
Yeah.
That would
feel Metsy too.
That would be very
LOL feel Metsy. That's why I don't want that. I'd rather it just be like the offense again.
But it's also like when it's the second inning and the other team scored 5 runs, you're like, well, I could either shut this off or just angry watch the rest of the fucking day.
Oh,
I hate that.
Knowing that they're not scoring.
You're penciled in
6
2.5 hours of just inadequacy for the next.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Can't do it.
That was
Can't do it again.
that was all August last year. It was like, other team scores a run, we're not.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, how many times did it feel that way? If you scored if the other team scored in like the 5th inning, it was like, well, that's it. There's no shot. There's no way we're putting up another one on the board. Well, you wouldn't believe it, but I still, from the way we're talking, but I do think we're a confident bunch.
We're 96ers.
90 fucking Sixers. I spoke to Westy yesterday. We are just gonna finalize the shirt. He said the way those bets usually work is you do it like 2 days, 1 day prior, because obviously things can change. So what's opening day is officially?
April 7th.
April 7th.
I think we have a 4 o'clock game that day in
Beautiful.
DC.
Okay. And where?
DC.
So look out for the 96er bet to be live on the 5th or 6th of August of April, and we'll have our T-shirts ready. And you can ride.
You're gonna cash that bet in August.
In August. Woo! We're gonna win 150 fucking games this year. All right. Until then, we're probably gonna try to churn out 1 or 2 episodes a week for the whole fucking season. So let's hope that they're happy episodes instead of a grind. And I suppose theoretically we should continue to believe.
Yep.
Gotta believe.
You are watching the best Mets podcast on the planet Earth, featuring the best Mets personalities, the best producers, the best outings and events in the game right now, all talking about one of the most interesting, infuriating, and hopefully fucking great teams in all of professional sports. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like and leave comments. Make sure you click that little bell icon so you get a notification every time we put out a new episode. And ride with We Gotta Believe and Stevie Cohen to the promised land.
Gotta believe.